All right. I hope everybody is okay. Good morning, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the robotic settings. All right. Okay. So today we are going to be looking at setting our robots. All right. And understanding a few aspects of our robotics. All right. In the next 1 hour, I'll be done. In the next 1 hour, I'll basically be done with our training for today. I know if someone misses this training, that's why they keep on complaining on our group. So allow me just post this again on certain group. All right. Okay. So let's go into robotic settings. All right. Let's go into robotic settings now. Okay. So I'm gonna share my screen, and I basically go to my Royalq application. I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to share my screen and then go into my Royalq settings. And then going to my Royalq. I hope we are ready. Okay. Eh, Acro is going crazy. Acro is going crazy. Let me look at. Sorry. Just wait, guys. Okay, the challenge is that it can retrace, but okay. Those that entered earlier, they can enjoy that trade. You know, people have been with me for some time. They know I don't trade pumping coins. Our entry was a little bit earlier, and I think those who traded with us, they are out already. Yeah, they are out with their 4%. Those who entered when we gave the signal. Yes, there is potential. It can still continue, but I don't trade pumping coins, me personally. So I'll not continue with it. But okay, let's now go to our trade settings, all right, as a topic for today. So when you basically open your Royalq application, you'll be able to meet some areas that basically okay, basically, yes, that coin has power to still go up, but okay, but I'll not continue. So what I'm trying to say is that when you talk about robotic settings, we basically, you need to come here on mine, come on my strategy setting, and create your own strategy. That is very, very important, all right? So you come here on the plus sign, and I want to explain this here. Okay, the risk type doesn't matter because we are not using the default settings of Royalq. We are using our own settings. If we were going to use the default settings of Royalq, then we would be able to look into that and say maybe we basically needed to make sure that we have the settings right, but we are using our own settings. So whether steady or conservative or radical, it doesn't make sense for us. Okay, so you can name the strategy your own name. What do we mean by first buying amount? What we mean by first buying amount basically is that maybe I have $100. I don't want all my $100 to basically go in the market at once. Okay. So I want my money to go slowly in the market. That's why I don't put all my capital once here. I don't put all my capital once. What I do is that I allow the market to slowly take up my capital. And so that's what we mean by first buying amount. Then we have this area called the open DAO position. It means that whenever the robot will go into the market, it will double my previous purchase. It will double my previous purchase. So if I had entered $15, it will just now be entering with $30, right? Okay. Then margin call limit. This is how we want the robot to invest our $100 in the market. So it is called the margin call, the number of times we want our robot to basically be able to buy. All right. Then we have the whole position take profit ratio. This means that from our entry price, when the market rises by 1.3%, and the whole position callback means if the market goes down by 0.3, the robot should sell. This is what this means. From there now, we want to go to the margin configuration. Margin configuration, just a minute, guys. Margin configuration, this is how we want the robot, we set the robot to buy the 7 margin calls we talked about at the start. The 7 margin calls we talked about at the start. Okay, before I go to the margin call configuration, allow me talk about what does buy-in callback mean. Depending on the settings we have set, depending on the settings we have set, maybe we say that the market will drop by 1%. So when the market drops by 1%, maybe from our entry, the market drops by 1%. The robot will only put in our money by the buy-in callback if the market rises by 0.5. That is when the robot will basically put in our money in the market. I don't know. So far, before I go to the margin configuration, are we learning? Are we following? If you are learning, type for me 1 in the chat. If you are learning, type for me 1 in the chat. If you are learning, type for me 1 in the chat. If you are learning, type for me 1 in the chat. If you are learning, type for me 1 in the chat. If you are understanding where we are, type for me 1 in the chat. Okay, so that I understand that I'm working with some people today. If you are not understanding anything, type 0. If you are not understanding anything, type 0. If you are not understanding anything, type 0 in the chat. If you're not understanding the meanings of the things I'm talking about, okay, good. It seems everybody is okay. All right, let's now continue with our lesson. Okay. Now, whatever the robot will buy, I want to go to the margin configuration. I want to go to the margin configuration. I want to go to the margin configuration. The margin call drop. The margin configuration is basically divided into 2. We have the margin call drop and the multiple buy-in ratio. So the margin call drop here, we have the first call, the second call, the third call, and the fourth call. We have 4 calls, these first 4 calls. Whatever the robot buys from margin call number 1, margin call number 2, margin call number 3, margin call number 4. If the market rises, when it has bought from 1, 2, 3, and 4, it sells everything at once. It sells everything at once, which means that the whole position take profit, we put here only works for margin call number 1 to margin call number 4. Whatever the robot has bought from margin call number 1 up to margin call number 4, the robot sells everything at once if the market rises. If you have understood that, type for me 2 in the chat. If you have understood that, type for me 2 in the chat. If you have understood that, type for me 2 in the chat. Type for me 2 in the chat, 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 2 in the chat. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Right, I use 80/20 rule, all right? If I get a certain number of people who type 1, we move. All right, so I'll continue with my lesson. Okay. Now, the ability of the robot to buy call 1, call 2, call 3, and call 4 and sell it at once is what we call martingale. Martingale means that we buy at different prices and sell at once. The word martingale means that we buy at different prices, at different drops or at different prices of the market and sell at once. Ladies and gentlemen on the call, after margin call number 4, whatever the robot buys from margin call number 5 up to margin call 999, every call is independent. It can buy call number 8, the market rises, and it sells call number 5 alone. It buys call number 6, the market rises, it sells call number 6 alone. And the settings from margin call number 5 up to margin call 999 is this area we call the distributed take profit allocation. So from margin call number 1 to margin call number 4 takes up this part. Margin call number 5 to margin call 999, it takes up this part we call the distributed take profit allocation. And so the number of margin calls we have created, they can always have each a different take profit. And like we had the whole position take profit callback, we also have the sub position take profit callback. Important note to take, always make sure that the distributed take profit allocation, is lesser than the whole position take profit allocation. The distributed take profit should be lesser than the whole position take profit. So this caters for margin call number 1 to margin call number 4. And the settings here cater for margin call number 5 to margin call 999. If you're okay up to there, before I go to the margin configuration, type for me a 3 in the chat. If you're okay up to there, type for me a 3 in the chat. Type for me a 3 in the chat. Yeah. Understanding that difference helps you to understand the robot you are using. Good. Okay. Since now we can differentiate the two, let's continue. We have a strategy period here. Strategy period, we have mainly two strategies, ladies and gentlemen. We have a strategy we call a one-shot. A one-shot strategy is a kind of trading strategy where the robot buys once. When the market rises, the robot sells everything it has bought. The robot buys when the market rises. By the take profit you have put, the robot sells at once. That's what we call a one-shot. Then a cycle means that the robot buys, sells, buys, sells, buys, sells, buys. So cycle is a continuous process, while one shot is not a continuous process. I personally advise that, yes, it is true that someone could trade on a cycle. And basically, I have already provided settings for a cycle strategy, which I will also do again today if you are interested. Do you have some people who are interested in trading a cycle? You have enough capital? Do you have some people who are interested in trading a cycle? Let me know. Let me know. Let me know. Okay, let me know those interested to trade a cycle. 1, you must be ready if you want to trade a cycle, because I saw some people complain they want to trade a cycle. If you want to trade a cycle, make sure you can trade, especially in the USDT market. Especially in the USDT market, if you want to make some money. I think if you trade around 30 coins, you will make some good profit. But if you can't trade more than 30 coins, then you are just a joker, right? No, learning is okay, but I want to trade. Knowledge without capital in trading is useless. Because here we are not basically sticking to having knowledge without use. So I think I'll drop those settings in the different crypto ambassador groups. All right. Okay, so all I will request Leader Doris Angel, if you're on this call, or Leader Eunice, you could help me drop those settings in the different groups. Leader Doris, Leader Eunice, Leader Ken. If you're on this call, Leader Doris, Leader Eunice, Leader Ken, Leader Naomi from Leader Naomi from okay, so I've explained that. Now, when it comes to cycle, we can have two options here. I may not go into details about this. We have the highest first price, and we have the first position drop. Now, for example, you enter a coin like Acro, you want to trade it on a cycle. You can be able to allow your robot, it buys, then it starts selling. Once it sells all the margin calls, you put a certain price of Acro that you want, that when the market comes down to this price, that's when the robot should buy again. And this prevents floating loss on a cycle trading strategy. So when it comes to first position drop, you put a certain drop percentage. Let me say Acro is high by 30%. Then you say only buy when Acro drops by 15%. So when I press my trade, whatever Acro has bought, once it sells, it will not buy again unless the market drops by 15%. That is when you are gonna use the cycle strategy. So basically, my focus for today is one shot, so I'll keep it one shot there. So let's go to the margin configuration here. I basically advise anyone trading in the USDT market, especially if you have less than $500, don't trade more than one coin. If you have $1,000, trade a maximum of 2 coins. In the cycle strategy that my leaders might be dropping in the group, we are even saying it is $1,000 per coin. If you don't have $1,000, don't tamper on that strategy. I repeat my statement. We are even saying the strategy that my leaders are dropping on the different group. If you don't have $1,000 per coin, don't touch that strategy. So here we are saying that if you don't have more than $500, don't trade more than one coin. $500, one coin. You have $1,000, trade 2 coins. So if you have, so that person who has $300, $200, $100 for you, I don't ask, it is one coin at a time. Okay, all right. Now the number of margin calls, I'll basically keep them to 4 because we understand that whatever the robot buys, 1, 2, 3, 4, when the market rises, it sells everything at once. So we want to use a one-shot strategy for margin call number 1, margin call number 2, margin call number 3, and margin call number 4. Now let's go to the margin call drop and the multiple buy-in ratio. So margin call drop is the percentage that we are taking for the market to drop. The multiple buy-in ratio works on the capital that we have. So how does this work? For example, when the market drops by 3.5, you enter the market drops by 3.5. The robot will not buy unless the market rises by the buy-in callback. For example, here the buy-in callback is 0.5, sorry. So the market comes down by 3.5. The robot will only buy when the market rises by 0.5. This is what this means. So some people ask me, Julius, why is my robot not buying? Why is my robot not buying? Yes, it is true. The market might have dropped by 3.5, but this robot will not buy. This robot will not buy unless the market rises by 0.5. Let me go back here. So margin call drop, these are the percentage we put here depending on how deep we want our coins to trade. And the multiple buying ratio, this is where we set according to our capital. Before I go in details, give me a 1 in the chat if you have understood the difference. Before I go in details, give me a 1 in the chat if you have understood the difference. Before I go into the details, give me a 1 if you have understood. I repeat, if you have less than $500, don't trade more than one coin. If I continue, if you have a question, feel free to ask it. If you have a question, I will not repeat the circle. If you have a question, I don't go back to circle. I'll stick to one shot. If you want the cycle settings, just get into the group. My leaders will drop those settings. Leader Eunice, if you're on this call, if they don't, I'll drop them myself. Leader Ken from UK, Leader Eunice from Kenya, Leader Doris Angel from Germany, if you are here, and Leader Naomi from Ghana. If you're on this call, help me drop those settings on the different groups. Okay, so let's get back to those settings. Basically, when you set them, they are for $1,000. $1,000 per coin. All right. Now let's get into setting this depending on the capital. The signals that we provide basically, we have basically come up with settings. And our settings are a standard of 5% drop. So this becomes, we keep it 0.5. This is 0.5. This is 1.5. And this is 2.5. So we basically have our signals have a 5% drop, especially if they're a preset signal. Especially if they are a preset signal. So when we add this, 2.5 plus 1.5 plus 0.5 plus 0.5 is 5%. Now let's go to, so if someone sends a signal and you have $500, I would advise you, if let me say the drop on a signal is 3%, always keep it to 5%, right? Unless the signal they have sent is maybe 10%, then you can edit your margin call configuration. For example, today, I sent a signal of acro. You can keep the first two calls, these ones. This could be 0.5, 0.5, because you want your robot to buy faster. This could be 1.5. Then the rest of the drop, you press it here. You are good to go. Now let's go to capital. What does this mean? This means the multiple. It multiplies what? It multiplies the first buying amount. So this means 2 times 15, which is 30. 4 times 15, this is 60. 8 times 15, which is 120. 16 times 15, which is 240. So this is what this means. So if you add this 240 plus 120, which is $360, 360 plus $60. So when you add all this plus the $15 that the robot went into the market for the first time, you get $465. $465. This method of the robot doubling its previous purchase, you see, is what we call DCA, dollar cost averaging. Why dollar cost? Whenever it buys, it moves the current price closer to the average price. For example, okay, let me finish here. I'll go there. Whenever the robot buys, it creates an average price. Whenever the robot buys, it creates an average price. So the robot keeps on creating a new average price whenever the robot doubles its purchase. That's why the best way of trading is 2, 4, 8, 16. The best method is 2, 4, 8, 16. Okay. We can also lower this to another method called the Fibonacci, because maybe you have less capital, which is 2 plus 3 equals 5, which is 3 plus 5 equals 8. And when we add up this total plus the $15 that we started with, is around $285 to trade one coin. To trade one coin. Apart from the Fibonacci, we also have a +1. You see, we just adding 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When we add up this plus the $15, we find that we need a capital of $225. Now, if you have more capital, you could trade, maybe you have 1,000, maybe you could trade 2 coins, or maybe you could trade 1 and leave the balance as a reserve, which is super fine, no problem. But what about people who have $50? People have $100, people have $200. What do they do? Now, for example, you have $50 and they send a signal with a drop of 3%. For you, don't never make it 5%. What do? You just come back here, set one margin call. Come and put here 3% as the drop, because this is the drop, 3% drop. Then keep your multiple buying ratio 2. Right? Because it will be 2 times 15, which is 30, plus the 15 that went into the market, which is $45. You'll be good to go. If you only have $100, I would basically advise you to use 2 margin calls, which is this 2 times 15, which is 30. This is times 15, which is 60. So 60 plus 30 plus the first 15, which is equal to 105 and $5 if you have $100. If you have more, you don't need to worry, because whenever I use the 2, 4, 8, 16, the double up method. So for you with $105, just have 2 margin calls, you are good to go. If you have more, you can still say you have more than 105. You can add on the third call, which is, this is 5, 2. Okay. You could add on a third call. So if you have more money, you could open more margin calls. But if you don't have more money, I would advise now personally, if someone uses 2, 4, they would be good to go. So if the drop is 3%, you just put here 1.5. Sorry, 1.5. And also here you put 1.5. It is 5%, you put 2.5. And here you also put 2.5. That is trading on a one-shot strategy, keeping the 4 margin calls as a profound way of trading. Now, so you save it. Okay, now, once they send a signal, let me say EOS. You just come here, tap on EOS, then you tap on create, then you choose martingale, because whatever it buys separately and sells at once. Then you come here and tap next. You tap on trade settings. You edit. You choose strategy. You tap on it. You save again. And then you start a trade. That's how you trade a one shot. So you don't always go back to settings whenever the signal is sent. You make sure that at mine here, your settings are already in. So your goal is as simple as editing the settings, having them done, and then you just tap on it. Now, for people who are compounding, okay, maybe I'm compounding. What I just do, I always just keep on changing the first buying amount. That's the only task you do. You keep on changing the first buying amount, for after every successful trade. You keep on changing the first buying amount, the first buying amount. I hope I'm done with the one shot. I may want to talk a little bit about the cycle for those who have capital. If you have understood the one shot, give me a 2 in the chat, because I think I'm done. Okay, if you have understood the one shot, give me a 2 in the chat. If you have understood the one shot, give me a 2 in the chat. Especially if you are trading if you don't have enough capital. So I think you'll need to watch or drop your question. It is hard for me to repeat everything. Drop your question, because it is hard for me to repeat from where I started. I think it's unfair business. Maybe if you have just joined, then I need to take you back to watch the recording. Unless you ask your question. Sir, can you unmute yourself and ask your question? Can you unmute yourself and ask your question?
Hello. I have a question. Hello. Hello.
Please ask your question.
I have a question.
Mm.
Kwa hiyo ya ulisema una set aje hiyo ya trade ya kuset ya trade up. Umenipata?
Nakusikia vizuri.
Nataka urudie hapo kidogo, kuna venye sikupata.
What haven't you understood?
How to set your trade.
You have just joined.
Yeah.
You will watch again. It is unfair business for me to be here for 1 hour. You come late and you want me to repeat.
Utaweka
It's
YouTube
unfair
ama?
business. You will watch the recording.
Utanitumia, thanks.
Hey, I will. Sometimes I don't need to agree. When you join late, me have been here for 1 hour, and you want me to repeat from where I started. Unfair business. Unfair business. I'm sorry. I can't repeat from where I started. So it means it needs me another full hour. Hey, no, hapana. I'm sorry, my friend. Sasa when una watch record kwa YouTube, na kutumia recording. Sasa mimi sitaki kurudi nyuma. Sasa hivi muda naenda. Okay, my friend? Next time you come early. Now people are saying this command is very tough. No, I'm not tough. Latecomers eat bones. You know when you are starting the presentation like here, people are one. Now what happens is that some are just woken up like from sleep. The Zoom, they are teaching a very important point. Come. You know, I don't know, but people have experience of doing returns on investment companies and maybe product companies. They treat Royalq like a network marketing company where...
Hello.
You are still continuing.
Unatuma hiyo link exactly time. So tuma hata jioni alafu tujue Zoom meeting itakuwa saa ngapi. That is the problem.
The Zoom has been here for 1.5 years, I think. I'm about 1 year. Same time, it never changes. Every day, same time, it never changes. 9 a.m. East Africa Standard, 10 a.m. East Africa Standard Time, every day. Monday to Friday, Monday to Saturday. Every day, Monday to Saturday. The only day we don't train, maybe when all of us are sick, but I've never seen it since I started. But every day, same time. But I sent this link 30 minutes before the time, I myself. Okay, let me look through other questions. If I have $100, can't you allow me set 4 margin calls? Site is up to you. If you love 4 margin calls, go in 4. May I have no problem with you. Increase first buying amount by what percentage? I don't understand. What do you mean? What do you mean by increasing first buy-in amount? Okay, because when you have, if you have $100, 4 margin calls cannot help you. Let me try to make it clear. If you have $100, for margin calls cannot help you, because the importance of margin calls, okay, should be able to bring the average price closer to the current price. That's why me, I would advise anyone who has $100, increase your capital to at least $500. Increase your capital at least to $500. That is 2 million Ugandan shillings. That is close to 2 million Ugandan shillings. I want to go to margin call configuration. How someone can create more margin calls if he's interested. That's where I want to go now. Yes, sir. Ask your question.
No, hello, good
Yes,
morning.
sir. Ask your question.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay. Sorry, my question is that from your trading setting, can someone set from mine? You set from your mine, you make a particular setting for one shot at the same time. Is this still possible for you to make another setting for cycle?
Yes.
Okay, that you don't have to be going to your mining every time you wanted to trade a coin.
No, you need to go to mine and sit in the strategy.
Okay. And does it not affect the first coin you have set?
You cannot use the same settings on the same coin.
Okay.
You cannot put the coin on one shot and cycle at the same time.
Okay, thank you.
Let me create a 1,000. Let me create, okay, people have asked me so much. Let me create a $1,000 setting on a cycle, because it's so powerful. But you must be able to trade many coins. No one should look for me. You go bring your 1,000, pick one coin, then it is not giving you good money, and you complain. I pass a disclaimer. I'm going to provide the $1,000 settings for one coin. Please, do not. I don't know how I can use this. Okay, but let me provide the settings. Just a minute. Let me provide the settings. Let me provide the settings. I'm going to provide two settings. Let me first start with how to open margin calls. How to open margin calls. Let me start from there. Okay. Let me just get my strategy. Allow me just to get my strategy. Okay, now here is a $1,000 settings. If you want to trade on a cycle. So we are going to create it. Our first buying amount is $15. Our number of margin calls are 100, which is close to $1,500. Our buying callback is 0.1. Our I don't want to create again. Just give me a minute, guys. I already created this. I don't want to repeat it again. I'll just define why I don't need it to create it again. So if you have people in Russia, today I'll be doing a leaders training for the Russia community. Today I'll be doing a leaders training for the Russia community. If you have people in Russia, you have leaders in Russia. At 8 p.m. East Africa Standard Time, 8 p.m. East Africa Standard Time, for 1 straight hour. So I'll be doing every Tuesday and every Tuesday and every Tuesday and every Friday. I do a training for the Russia community. So if you are having friends who speak Russia language, yeah, we can be able to catch up on that Zoom call. We shall not be using English, we shall be using Russia. So make sure you bring people who understand that language. Okay, so we shall be using the Russia language. So I'll be doing a leadership training for the Russia community today at 8 p.m. East Africa Standard Time, which is the same as Moscow time. So, okay, so this is 0.01. The buy-in callback is also 0.01. And the sub position take profit is 0.1. The number of margin calls, they are 100. Couple of them, right? Because I already have my settings. Okay, yeah, sure, good. Okay, now here we have two purposes of using the cycle. One, we want a robot to sell fast so many times. That is one. And we want our robot to buy fast. We want our robot to sell fast and we want our robot to buy fast. If you can do $1,500 for one coin, best. But if you have 1,000, you are good to go. Now let me go to the margin configuration. First call, 0.5. Marked for buying ratio is 1. Second call, 0.5. Marked for buying ratio is 1. Third call, 0.5. Marked for buying ratio is 1. Fourth call, 0.5. Marked for buying ratio is 1. Fifth call, 0.5. Marked for buying ratio is 1. Sixth call, 0.5. Marked for buying ratio is 1. Fifth, seventh call, 0.5. Marked for buying ratio is 1. Okay, let me just continue so that I save the time. 0.5, 1. 0.5, 1. 0.5, 1. 0.5, 1. 0.5, 1. 0.5, 1. 0.5, 1. 0.5, 1. 0.5, 1. 0.5. We want a robot to buy faster and sell faster. That's our goal. Nothing more, nothing much. So whenever the market falls by 0.5, a robot should buy 1 time. That's why our buy-in callback is also small. You want a robot to buy faster, you want a robot to sell faster. A 100 margin calls. A 100 margin calls. That's why it's taking some time. Just bear with me. I'm about to finish. And then I take you through the calculation so that you can see. This is a safe trading strategy, but you need to have more capital to trade more coins. If you have less capital and trade less coins, you will not make good money. You need to have multiple coins you are trading, right? For you to make good money. We are just halfway. We have more 50 to go, but I'm doing fast. Okay. But to finish, more 40 to go. You set once. You don't need to set this all the time. You set it once, it stays in your screen, so you can be able to use it anytime you want. Okay. Okay. Around 20 to go. 20 margin calls to go. So from call number 1 up to call 90. From call number 1 up to call 90. You use 0.5. Before I finish up, are we together? Let me first save this. Then I come back and find out from you guys. Are we together? Is someone following? Give me one in the chat if you are following. So from call number 1 up to call from call number 1 up to call 90. Those are the settings from call number 1 up to call 90. Call number 1 up to call 90. Call number 1 up to call 90, it is 0.5. Okay. From call number 1 up to call 90, it is 0.5. Call 1 up to call 90, it is 0.5. Okay, let me come back now. I share my screen. If you have 1K, be able to trade more coins. I think, where is this strategy? This coin it needs to be traded on a cycle. It's very good, but once it catches you on top, you might not like it. Okay, there we go. So let me edit. If I'm saying my call number 8 is 0.8, okay. All right, thank you. So we continue from call number 91. This is when the market has gone extra. Want to go 2%. Still, we are maintaining 1 time. Then here we go 3%, 1 time. Still here we go 3%, 1 time. Then here we go 4%. You're just adding 1. Then we go 4%. Then the rest, we go 5%. 5, 5, 5, 5%. So let me add up with you so that you see this is 1. How much deep is this percentage? This is 1. This is 1. And this is 1. Okay. So let me save. Let's go to a calculator and I show you how deep is this calculator. There we go. Okay, so from call number 1 to call 90 times 0.5, that is 45%. Then we have plus 2%, which is 49, plus 3%, plus 3% drop, which is 55, plus 4%, which is 63, plus 5%, plus 5%, plus 5%, plus 5%, which is 83% deep. 83% deep. Now, let me give an example of why this strategy is good. Here, you don't need to do anything. For example, if you pick Acro at its current price using this strategy, the current price of Acro is 0.0656. 0.0656. I'll take this minus from that current price 83%. It means that you will still stay in this trade until Acro goes from this price up to this price. Let me use Bitcoin that people could get. Let us look at the price of BTC. Just a minute. Let me just pick here the price of Bitcoin. It is 22,371. This is the price of Bitcoin minus 83%. It means that your trades are still safe until BTC gets to $3,803. You are safe. You are enjoying your trades. Your robot will be buying and selling, buying and selling, buying and selling, buying and selling. Now imagine you have the capital to trade all the 72 coins in Binance, and each you are going for at least 1,500, or you go for $1,000. You're at least using $72,000. You trade all the 72 coins. Your 1,000 will not reach the 83% dip, but at least it will take 60% of the margin call drops. Have I made some sense? If you have understood, give me a 2 in the chat. If you have understood, give me a 2 in the chat. The challenge could be, if you are only trading one coin, Julius, what is the challenge if I only pick one coin? You'll only be making little profit because you might pick a coin that has less volatility. Okay, what I mean by less volatility is that the coin is very slow. But if you are trading all, if maybe Acro is slow, ATA is fast, Course is fast, maybe that's how you profit because you are trading so many coins at the same time. Now I want to go to how to open up margin calls. Then I come to the end. Let me listen to this one. Yes, Larry, what's your question?
Oh, thank you. My question is based on compounding. What if you have a capital of $100 and your first buy amount should be 25% of $100, so it means it is $25. So it means that the remaining balance for margin call will be $75.
Stop there before you continue. Me,
yes,
I don't
yes.
use that strategy. Me, I say if you have less than $500, the minimum first buying amount should be $15. You cannot compound $25 because when you compound $25 as your first buying amount, you want to make big yet you have small capital. Things can never work that way. You cannot have little capital and plan to make big profits. Or else you reach a time and get stuck on the line. You might win some trades, but you'll get stuck along the line.
So what if the first buy amount will grow up to maybe $100? So the remaining balance for margin call, will you add up some amount?
Why do you want to go where you haven't reached? You focus on now. You know, the biggest problem is focusing on where you haven't reached. According to how the strategy was built, if you keep your first buying amount low, you'll be making more profit.
Yes,
right? You'll be making more profit. You'll be making more profit. The reason why I emphasize on margin calls because if the market goes down, you make more profit than 3% you are supposed to make, which at the end of the day keeps your capital growing bigger than your expectation.
It's true. It's true.
Right? Yeah, it goes bigger than your expectation unless you are withdrawing your profits. But if you're not withdrawing your profits and keeping, you find a certain amount of money, like I said on the strategy, that you are not willing to take off from the market now. You are keeping it for the challenge. Maybe you say $500 for the challenge. Every profit that comes from the $500, you don't take it. Because when you take it, you're going to reach a time when your first buying amount is huge, yet you don't have capital.
It's true.
That is the strategy. So don't start huge. Some people want to start huge. I've seen people who become too much excited and someone has maybe $15 or maybe someone has $100 and he wants to compound $100 until it gives him 1 million. Right? It's up to him. They will reach a time and they cannot survive.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
All right. You should not tamper, bring your $100 to a cycle. You should not tamper. You bring your $100 for this cycle, you will die. It is suicidal. You will die. The robot will buy your $100 within a few margin calls and get stuck there. Please, no one should tamper. You cannot automate a robot with $100. Okay, I hope I'm done. Allow me invite leader OBM to close our meeting for today. I have so much to teach, but I think too much of anything is bad. I hope my next Zoom call, I'll note it here. I'll talk about how to open more margin calls if someone is interested on a particular coin. Leader OBM, are you with us, sir? Okay. Basically, ladies and gentlemen, as we come to the end of the call, I see a hand here. Let's ask your question.
Good morning, sir. My leader, Julius.
Good morning. How are you, sir?
Fine, sir. How is the job over there, sir?
All right.
All right, sir. I just want to ask just a few questions, which is getting me crazy. But I think I'll be able to get the right answer to it from you, sir. What really happened is that I'm trading on SMR coin. So till up to now, at least it's getting over a month now. The thing is not selling. And most times, and even as at now, I'm still having like 47 USD left over. But anytime the thing will just stop and say stop margin coin, the exchanger insufficient balance. Then I see that when I will still add money again, it will still be stopping again. Then I'll still go to that my robot trading something to click open margin call so that the thing can continue. Later on, it will still stop again. I don't know what is the problem, sir.
Okay, let me give you an example.
Yes, sir.
If I pick this coin, YFI, right?
Yes, sir.
I set it up. And I open margin calls, right?
Yes, sir.
Maybe my first call was 2. Maybe it is 3. Maybe it's 4. Maybe it's 5, right? And maybe it is 6. I'll take this example. Then the market goes by 0.5.
Okay.
6 times 15 is how much?
6 times 15? That's 90.
$90.
Yes, sir.
If I don't have these $90 in my exchanger, the robot will say insufficient balance.
Okay.
Have you understood now?
Yes, sir.
Because it wants to buy this call 6 times of $15. You go back and look through how you are configuring your margin calls, right? The multiple buying ratio. They must be in proportion with the amount of capital you have. If it's not there, it will tell you insufficient balance.
Okay.
Have you understood?
Yes, sir. So in this point now, what am I going to do now? Am I going to sell it off, or I should just convert it?
Why sell a coin?
Why do you want
to sell? Why do you want to sell?
No, I'm just asking for better knowledge, for better understanding. That's why I ask.
If you have money, just open more margin calls. Let me say I start from here. I can start with 1, 2, 3. I put 4 here. So if I have, let me say, I don't know, this is times 15. If I multiply and I have this money, all right? I can open margin calls on that coin, especially if I'm interested for that coin to get out of the market.
Okay.
Right? I can start afresh, open more margin calls, and whenever the market goes deep, it keeps on buying, keeps on buying. When the market rises, it keeps on selling. It buys, it sells, it buys, it sells, it buys, it sells. Right?
Okay.
So I can create more margin calls if I have more money.
All right.
Is it okay now?
It's okay now. Thank you.
But the multiples you put here must be proportional with the capital you have.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
All right. You said there will be a Zoom meeting on how to open more margin calls for a coin in deep. There is no straight strategy. I think people need to keep this simple. Like I've said, you just look at the capital you have. You can say, I'm going to use a +1 and open more margin calls, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8. You look at how much capital you have. That's all. There's no big deal. For example, if I'm floating on a coin, me, I'm different from so many people's approaches. I don't quarrel with the market. Me, I have no problem with the market. I can be patient. For example, okay, the market is down. Me, I understand. Maybe I'm trading XLM, this one, and I want to open more margin calls. What do I do? If I have capital, I will say, how much do I have? Then I say, let me say I can have $200. I just come here and I say, I want 10 margin calls. The take profit, I want it to sell fast, 0.1, right? Okay, then I come to this margin calls. This is okay, 1.3. Then I say, this was 248.16, it was done. Then I come back again, 1, 2, 3, 4. I use a +1, 5, and 6. Then I say 6, 5. Then I go to my calculator. I want to find out how much capital I need. 6 + 5 + 4 +2, sorry, +3 +2 +1. It is 21. So 21 times 15, $315. So I provide $315. Then how do I want my robot to buy? Then I say the fifth call, let it buy 0.5. I want it to buy at least. Then this one, let it buy 0.5. Then here I upgrade, I go to 2. Then here I can also go to 2. Then here I go to 5. 5. This is okay. This is 10, 14, 15%. So the coin, if I want the coin, it drops 15% from where it is. Let my robot buy, put in $315. I confirm this depending on the money I have. I save. Then I come on the strategy mode. I can either change to the sub-bin mode. It means the robot will buy. When the market rises, the robot will sell, but it will not return my profit. It will only return my capital. Or I choose the sub-bin mode real-time settlement. If you are trading on a cycle and your goal is to stay in this trade longer, use the sub-bin mode real-time settlement. But if you want to get out of a coin, use the sub-bin mode. Then you confirm. Okay, now here it is saying that I need to cancel this order. Okay, I'd press in here an order where I want my robot to sell. So I need to cancel the order for the robot to change the strategy mode. So once I cancel this sell order, then the robot will change the strategy mode. I don't know why I put it here. So I may find myself waiting to cancel. I need to remember why I put it there. What are margin calls? I have just joined. If my first buying amount is 15 and I'm using double up after selling, I get $10 now for the next trade. Will I add this $10 to my first buying amount as compounding? Never. You don't add your capital. You add the percentage of the first buying amount. You don't add capital. You don't add your profit. You add the first buying amount. You add the first buying amount, take profit percentage, not your profit. When you add your profit, you'll find that you need too much capital. Okay, you find that you need too much capital. All right, welcome, Leader OBM. Please go on, sir, and close our session.
Thank you, my leader. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you are listening from. Yeah, it's a great time and great day to be in Royalq. Royalq has been a blessing. And with all the testimony we are seeing, of people actually making money from because they are ready to imbibe the knowledge we are getting here, and being focused and persistent, always showing up. There's nobody that does all this I've spoken about that will not make it in Royalq. And we have great leaders, that are ready to help us. And if after this you still fall into scams, it's all on you, because by the time you follow all everything we've been taught here every day, and you show up, you're going to make it. And if you are like me, you're always telling people about Royalq. You understand? The days that you are in floating loss, you wait, you be patient. At the end of the days, you go to sell. But why waiting? People are coming in, and you just need to ask people like a leader, Jules Kambanda or James Makara, of the importance of building a team and importance of leading people, to be successful in life. And Royalq is there for us. At the end of the day, we are not at the mercy of the company, because our money is in our Binance account. And, your money is in your Binance account. You have control over your money. So this is the best business in the world, if you ask me. The only people that will not be successful in this business is those that refuse to learn, to relearn and unlearn. If you are like that, you will not be successful here. You understand? So, and everybody, that is willing. Like I have a cousin that I have a nephew that maybe saw my result, and he came on his own, and today he activated his account, And if somebody like that can listen, like I told him, you have to listen, you have to follow the steps, you have to follow the system, and you have to be patient, when the market goes against you. That's an opportunity to buy more at a cheaper rate. And if you wait it out, see what Akro did this morning. A lot of people made a lot of money through Akro. And for someone like me that I was not in Akro, I made a lot of money this morning because I taught people about Royalq. So the thing is, the only thing is, you are like another man that I spoke with 2 days ago. He said he doesn't want to tell people about anything. I told him, use the product. By the time the product is working, you just tell people, you are like a doctor. They come, analyze their problem, give them solution. And if they don't take it, if they don't take to maybe to what you say, there's no harm in that. So you remove your mind from the outcome of whatever you tell the person and doesn't listen. That is the business you are in. So if you are here this morning, the first time, I just started 2 years ago, and today, I still work part time, and I've made over $200,000 part time. So if you are, maybe you are doing this full time, and there's an opportunity for you. It's working, and if you just follow great leaders like Julius Cavanda, because I cannot remove people like this and from my success, And if you just do what we tell you, it is possible. You don't want to know what someone like James Maka is making, and this guy plays golf right now, And our target is we'll get to V6. We are not gotten there, and we are bringing as much people as possible to V6 with us. So thank you, everybody. You have a great day, and for people that are already in the business, let's get serious. Let's be focused. Don't lose focus. and just stay with it, and success will be ours every day. So thank you, everybody. You have a great day, and bye-bye. See you in the evening.